students, good morning to all. Welcome back to my channel. I am here yet again with another interesting explanation of the chapter The Gift of Chapels. I have already explained the first part of this chapter. Now I am going to explain the second part of this chapter. Before starting the chapter explanation, let's go for the question answer section on the basis of first part explanation. Yes, now I am going to ask few questions to you. Your work is to note it down in the notebook. Children, whenever you sit to watch the video, take the pencil, take the textbook as well as the notebook in a hand. So now note the questions. Afterwards, send me those answers to my personal number. First question is, what was the full name of kitten? What was the full name of kitten? This is the first question. Second question is, who was Pati? Second question is, who was Pati? And the third question is, why did Meena keep a secret from Pati? Why did Meena keep a secret from Pati? This is the third question. Now, last one, fourth. Where did the children find the kitten? Where did the children find the kitten? These are 4 questions which you are supposed to me send the answers to my personal number. Okay. Now let's move on to the explanation of second part. I have already given all the new words from this lesson in the first video itself. So again I am not going to repeat it. Children, listen very carefully. Mridu crept up to the window. Lali was sitting a little distance away, awkwardly holding her violin and bowstring her elbows jutting out and her eyes glazed with concentration. In front of her, with most of his back to the window, was the bony figure of the music master. He had a mostly bald head with a fringe of oiled black hair falling around his ears and an old-fashioned tuft. A gold chain gleamed around his leathery neck and a diamond ring glittered on his hand as it glided up and down. The stem of the violin, a large foot, stuck out from beneath his gold-bordered rusty edge, and he was beating time on the floor with the scrawny big toe. Children, as we know that we started a lesson in the first video and where we get to know about lot of things in the house of Rukumani, where Meena visited with her Pati, and there she got to know about a secret from Meena and Ravi. Mridu visited to the house of Rukumani and she got to know the secret of Meena and Ravi about a kitten. After that, when they were talking in the backyard of the house, there they heard a creaking sound, and then Ravi revealed here this sound belongs to Lali, who is playing the violin, who is learning to play the violin uninterestingly, with no interest. Next, now the second part started. Here in the second part, we can see the complete description of Master Ji, music master. First thing here in the page, I have listed out some of the description words here. You can see the Lali and Master Ji sitting in a room, and Master Ji is teaching violin to the Lali. and she was also holding it. Just see the difference between position of holding the violin in both. See how Master Ji is holding and how Lali is holding. He, on the basis of the this picture only we can understand Lali is not at all comfortable with that music instrument. Now the description of Master Ji, how Master Ji looks here. He is bald headed, you can see as in the picture, and some hairs he was having which were black and which were falling near the ear, and oiled black hair those were, and also he was wearing old fashioned tuft, and to his leathery neck, leathery in a sense now he is old, so many of the skin of the person, that Master Ji was little kind of hanging, it is hanging. So here that's why the writer used here the word leathery neck. He was wearing a gold chain to his leathery neck, and also in his finger he was wearing a diamond ring which is gleaming a lot, and he was wearing a gold border dhoti, vasti in a sense dhoti, you can see in the picture. Now after this, after describing about the Master Ji, here Mridu was sitting in a room, not Mridu, Lali was sitting in a room, and as well as Master Ji also sitting in a room. Back of Master Ji, through the window, these children are watching the Lali as well as the Master Ji. And Master Ji was trying to teach the violin to Lali, and Lali was uncomfortable with her work. He played a few notes. Lali stumbled behind him on her violin, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. Yes, children, as I said, she was not at all comfortable with the violin playing. Because of the force of her mother, she was learning it. So you can see very easily in the picture. First, a few notes played by the Master Ji, then he said to follow to her, but she was doing it with unhappiness. What a difference! The music master's notes seemed to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible tracks of the melody. It was like the wheels of a train fitting smoothly into the rails and whizzing along. As Ravi said, Mridu started at that huge bearinged hand, moving effortlessly up the violin stem, making lovely music. Children, when music master played few notes, then it was looking like very beautiful. It was very, very beautiful to hear also, pleasant to hear. First of all, when he played the notes, then it was seemed like a train, invisible train, which was going on track with beautiful melody. When Lali started to play it with this effortlessly moving hand, it was seemed like squawk. There was Lali drilling again. Amma came a wail from the gate. Amma oh. And when Lali started to play, it was completely out of track. The train was going out of track and it was whizzing. Next, when the children were watching this class through the window, they heard all they heard a sound from the gate, that is Amma. Ravi sent that beggar away, cried his mother from the back veranda where she was chatting. Yes, children, when they heard the sound, as I said the sound of Amma from the window, then mother of Ravi from the kitchen itself, she shouted very loudly to send that beggar. Yes, she was not in kitchen, she was in the backyard veranda. From there she said to Ravi to send that beggar. And she was sitting with the tapi. He has been coming here every day from the past week, and it's time he found another house to beg from, Pati explained to Tapi. Pati is grandmother, Tapi is aunt here. So you can see it as Rukumani. Tapi word refers to Rukumani here. So here what happened? Rukumani said to the mother that this beggar is constantly coming to my house since 1 week. So now it's time to find a new house for him to beg. Next, Mridu and Meena followed Ravi out. The beggar was already in the garden, making himself quite at home. He had spread his upper cloth under the neem tree and was leaning against its trunk, apparently prepared to take a little snooze while he waited for the arms to appear. Go away, said Ravi sternly. My Pati says it's time you to found another house to beg from. Children, after this, Mridu and Meena and all Ravi, all the children, they followed except Lali. Except Lali was learning the music from the Masterji. So these all the children followed the Ravi towards the gate. When they reached the in the veranda, there they found that the beggar was already in the garden, and he was settling down himself comfortably under a neem tree by spreading his upper cloth. And he was about to take a snooze, a sleep, a sudden sleep, little sleep, short sleep, you can say it as a short sleep. So he was about to take a short sleep till the arms come from the house. Then as Amar Rukumani said to Ravi to send that beggar, so here Ravi very seriously said that beggar to go away from here. My Pati says to you that you have to find a new house. Yes. After this, the beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each of the children one by one. The ladies of this house, he said, at last, in a voice choked with feelings, are very kind souls. I have kept my body and soul together on their generosity for a whole week. I cannot believe that they would turn me away. He raised his voice, Amma, Amma, oh, sad his wail might be, but it certainly wasn't feeble. It began in a deep, strong rumble somewhere in his withered belly and came booming out of his mouth with its few remaining teeth stained brown with beetle chewing. Children, when Ravi said him with seriousness that go away, my mother said to go away and you have to find now another way, another house to beg. Then the beggar was, as I said, he was about to take a short sleep. He was closed his eyes that time. When he heard this, then slowly he opened his eyes. Then he gazed one by one. He saw one by one the children who were standing in front of him, very slow, as he was beggar and he doesn't have enough food to have. Every week, every day he is visiting here to ask the food, to beg the food. The condition of the beggar, you can understand very easily. He was very weak that time, and he was walking continuously in the sun, in the shade of sun, and the climate was not at all good that time. So finally, when he reached that house, he thought of taking a short sleep under a neem tree with fresh breeze. So when he heard that to go away from there, he opened his eyes very slowly and he saw the children, and he could not believe himself that words, because he knew that the ladies of this house are very gentle, very kind, and they cannot say these words to him. So he didn't believe, and again he started to shout loudly as Amma, Amma with his fat belly. And his teeth were brown. His appearance were very weak, was very weak. His appearance was very weak. His figure, he was completely bony figure kind of a man. Ravi, tell him there is nothing left in the kitchen, called Rukumani, and he is not to come again. Tell him that she sounded fed up. Yes, children, when again the beggar was called to Amma, to Rukumani, to give him alms food, then with a very weird sound, with very weirdly, in otherwise you can take it as a by feeding up with that beggar, she said, there is nothing left in the house. Nothing is there here to give him. Tell him to not come also next time to my house. She said to the Ravi from the veranda itself. Ravi did not have to repeat it all to the beggar. What his mother said had been easy for them all to hear. There, under the neem tree, the beggar sat up and sighed. Here, children, when Rukumani repeated from inside, then it is not required here to repeat, because the shout was very loud. Easily the children can hear it, as well as the beggar who is sitting under the neem tree. I'll go, he said wearily. Children, when he heard this sound, the second time when Rukumani said it, the tone was not at all good. So, when he heard that tone from Rukumani, then what he did, what the beggar has did, he felt very bad that time. With his sad face, then he said, I'll go. Don't worry, I'll go. Only let me have a rest here under this tree. The sun is so hot that the tar has melted on the road. My feet are already blistered. He stretched out his feet to show large pink peeling blisters on the soles of his bare feet. Children, when he heard the sound from the Rukumani, then he said, I'll go, don't worry, but let me take little rest under the neem tree, because now the sun is too hot. I can't walk on the road because of hotness. The tire has melted on the road, and already my feet were blistered. And when he was saying, he has stretched his feet, and he shown the pink marks, peeling marks of blister, in a sense bubbles, marks of on his feet, bare feet, to the children. Now, I suppose he doesn't have the money to buy chappals, Mridu whispered to Meena Ravi. Have you got an old pair in the house somewhere? Children, when he has shown the blisters on his bare feet, then children started to whisper them in themselves that maybe he doesn't have money to purchase the slippers. And here Mridu asked to Ravi and Meena that, do we have a pair of a chappal? Old pair of a chappal in the house? Then Ravi replied, I don't know. Mine are too small to fit his feet, or I would have given them to him. And his feet were large than Mridu's and Meena's. Ravi replied, I don't think so. We have a pair of a old chappal. Mine are too small. I could be given to him, but it doesn't fit to him, as well as the Mridu's and Meena's slippers will not fit to him. Children, whenever beggars visits our house, then how much it is possible from our hand we have to give them. It is very necessary. They would the reason why they comes to our house, when they don't have that, that is the reason. When they don't have anything, then only they'll come. Why they will come if they are having the things with them? So that so try to help the people how much it is possible with our hand. Here, when the beggar heard the weird reply from the Rukumani, then he thought of going, but he begged here to give little bit of time to take rest under the neem tree. When he has shown his blistered bare feet, then children started to talk about giving a pair of a chappal to him. But they started to whispering themselves that our slippers can't be fitted to him. The beggar was shaking out his upper cloth and tightening his dhoti. He raised his eyes and looked fearfully at the road gleaming in the afternoon heat. Children, after this, the beggar was shaking and tightening his dhoti. He started to get up and he started to walk, and he tightened his dhoti from the belly place, and he was little bit afraid also to go at this time on the road, because the road was melted because of the heat of sun, and the time was afternoon. He needs something on his feet. Meena said, her big eyes filling. It's not fair. Yeah. Meena said here, it's not fair to send him like this only. Yeah, I will agree that Amma is not going to give food to him, but at least we have to help him by giving the slippers. We can do it. Then after that, said Ravi, I am thinking about it. Blubbering, it's not fair, isn't going to be help. In 2 minutes, he will be frying his feet on that road. What he needs is a pair of chappals. So where do we get them? Come, let's search the house. He pushed Mridu and Meena into the house. When Meena was saying that it's not fair to send him like that, then Ravi said, I am thinking about it. You don't say again and again, you don't repeat again and again that it's not fair. By saying it, nothing is going to be happen. So let's go into the house and search this a pair of a old chappal. And if we can't do it, then next moment he will be frying his feet on that road. Next, just as she stepped into the veranda, Mridu's eyes fell on the old-looking chappals she had noticed when she arrived. Ravi, she whispered to him, whose are those? Yes, when the children went to search the old pair of slippers or chappals, very soon in veranda, Mridu noticed one old pair of chappals. When she was arrived, that time also she noticed that same slippers. So now when she has seen this, she called Ravi and she asked, whose are those? Ravi turned and glanced at the shabby looking but sturdy old slippers. He beamed and nodded. These are just the right size, he said. Picking them up, Mridu and Meena followed him nervously back into the garden. When Mridu asked whose those are, Ravi did not reply. Those were very old, as you can see in the picture also, very old faded slippers. He picked it up and he ran towards the garden. He didn't reply also. And he said, soon after seeing the slippers, he said, yeah, it is a correct size for the beggar. Yes, this after giving the slippers, whether they have given or not, everything we are going to see in the third part of the video. This is the second part explanation of the video. I hope you all have understood it. If you haven't, then you can ask your doubt by commenting, or else you can call, or you can send a message. Thank you so much children for watching the video.